Hey friend, I am so excited to be here with you. Welcome into the polka dot mini album class. 3x5s and simplicity is what I had in mind for this one. While this design can easily have custom closures, I really wanted this to speak easy to anyone first stepping into this craft. It's a really quick make and it holds more than 20 photos. And the great thing about it is, with each cut, you'll still have half a sheet of 12x12 left to play with. I know you're gonna love making this one. I used the Welcome Baby Girl by Echo Park. I love all the cut apart pages in the cardstock sticker sheet, and I still have tons of papers left over. And this album actually has a chipboard cover, back and spine of course. And I just popped a cute little saying right here on the front from the cut aparts page. I just thought that was so unbelievably cute. I added some buttons right here, and I cannot wait to teach you how to make this entire thing start to finish. I even came around with a little bit of dimensional foam tape and popped up some of these little polka dots, hence the name. Of course, you can use any paper it is that you want for this album design. The album measures 5.5 by 7.5, so it's an excellent little size to work with. And I can't wait to show you the inside. Look how cute. Right here on the front inside cover, I've got a cute little simple pocket. I stuck a little sticker on there, and then I kind of got a little bit of dimensional foam tape and I stuck a cute little 2x2 photo spot in there. And I just use a little stamp right there to indicate where the photo goes, so this little flower keeps this locked in place. And then inside here I just stuck a cute little tag, and this is awesome for all the 3.5 by 5 photographs. And look how cute. Little details page right there, and that all just gets tucked in. I mean, look how cute. I just love it. Right here I actually strung a little bit of those polka dots there, and I used another little dimensional foam tape closure, and then I've got a fun little sprig of words going on. This opens up and then reveals this cute little corner pocket. I've assembled a few more little fun pieces inside here. Look how fun this is. Oh my gosh, I cannot wait to start making this with you. And this came out of that cute little tags page. I just added a cute little button on there and a heart sticker. I love this little elephant. You are pure joy, it says. Look how cute. I'm in love with the seafoam green little faux stitch floral pattern. It's just way too cute. I added a cute little tab for interest. And then right on the back of this, I have a cute file folder pocket. I added some polka dots and stuffed a cute little booklet in here out of the cut aparts page. You can add some pictures inside there. Love this floral print right here. And then I added some more stickers from the collection. These I actually fussy cut out of the polka dot page. And then a nice little fun booklet for more 3.5 by 5 pictures. I did go along with my little journaling pen because you know me, I can't help myself. And right here again, perfect little place for a picture. Look how cute this little giraffe is. I just stuck a little sentiment on there with the little sticker. And then you give the page a turn, and right on the back, cute little delivery bird. And then we've got a couple little banner shapes right there. I did another little closure here where you just kind of untuck it. Beautiful little piece out of the paper. I just fussy cut around it. You can fit another landscape picture right here, and then a beautiful little pouch. And you could really stuff way more than I have in here, but I just decided to get one of the 4x6 cut aparts from the cut aparts page. And you can always mount a picture on the back. And then I've got another cute little tag with the floral print. I think that was my favorite paper. And then another booklet for extra picture space. Look how super simple this comes together in one day. And I cannot wait to show you how to make it. We are gonna have so much fun. Thanks so much for crafting with me today. I just wanna thank you for inviting me into your home so we can hang out together. I do suggest to sit back with a cup of tea or even maybe your favorite healthy snack and just kind of watch this course in its entirety before beginning. That way you'll have an idea of how this whole entire book starts to come together. In this class, I will be demonstrating in detail all the various steps and procedures used to create individual designs throughout this book. And of course you can add in or leave out anything you want. This is our creative journey to play just how we like. There will be notes and measurements that appear across the screen as we craft along, and because this is an edited film, naturally I'll be moving much quicker than you will be, so frequent pausing is totally normal. It is important to pay close attention to the way tools are used and to the way folds are achieved, because as you know, a great deal of our magic comes from how we use our hands. Remember to take your time and work at your own pace. Speed comes with practice. Are you ready to start making this adorable little book together? Awesome. Let's talk tools and materials so we can begin. The supplies I'll be using to create this super cute simple mini album will definitely be my Martha Stewart Scoreboard and my Fiskars paper trimmer. I've got a nice sharp blade right here ready to go, and I actually like to keep one that is dull off to the side so I can tell the two apart. I just mark it with some pen. This one is to cut our chipboard. I will also be using my favorite Tim Holtz scissors right there. I stay out of my own way with that. And my wonderful little Martha Stewart bone folder. Just love it. It's always great to have a ruler on hand. I've got this one actually from the Dollar Tree, so that was perfect. And I've got a pencil and an eraser and a wonderful little scoring tool. This one fits perfectly in the Martha Stewart grooves, so this is about a 1/16 of a ballpoint right here. and I love it so much. All my supplies and tools that I love to use, I'll leave as a link in the description if you wanted to pick some of these up for yourself. If you're on the website, it's a tab at the top, supplies I use. I will also be using my #1 favorite adhesive. This is score tape. I've got a roll of 3/8 and 1/4. I'm throwing in some dimensional foam tape just for a simple element on the front of this book, so any kind of dimensional foam tape works. And speaking of adhesive, I've got a nice liquid glue right here. Dries fast, clear, and it's super strong. This is art glitter glue. There's no glitter in it, but that's probably where it got its name, because you can do a nice precision of whatever kind of fancy lettering you want and probably dump the glitter on it and dump it off. But I absolutely love this. And for quick matting, you can use any tape rolling gun that you want, but I absolutely love the Scotch ATG gun right here. Super quick matting, strong glue. I stay name brand with all my tape because it takes the same amount of energy to stick it on. Why not use the best? And I just have one refill roll in there. We won't use the whole thing. As an optional thing here, I'm keeping it simple. I've got a cute little wooden stamp right here of a heart and a nice black ink pad. And then for some of my stickers, I'm going to come back with some cornstarch or baby powder. You could use anything you have at home. And I'm going to coat the back of my stickers. That way they lose their stickiness and I can use them as kind of like an ephemera piece. So looking forward to that. Now for all the cover wraps, base flaps, pockets, and interactions for the book, I always use 80-pound cardstock. So I need 2 sheets of 12x12 cardstock to achieve this. The details for all the paper weight and quantity of different materials I'm using will be linked in the cut list down in the description. You'll see it under the resources tab. So I've got about 15 sheets right here, 8.5 by 11, smooth textured kraft cardstock. I think that would go super sweet with that baby paper. I just love it. Now I've got about 10 to 12 sheets of lightweight, smooth textured white 8.5 by 11 cardstock. This one's 60 pounds because this is where I stick the picture on top and I just don't want excess bulk. Some people stick them on permanently, some people take them off. I like to leave mine on because once you get a picture on there, it looks awesome. I will also be using some nice medium weight chipboard right here in 12x12, so I have 2 sheets right here and this will be perfect. We're keeping it simple this time around. Let's go ahead and check out the paper line. So cute. Welcome Baby Girl by Echo Park. Look at all these cute characters. Oh my goodness, and we even have this beautiful little checkered pattern going on in the back. And we have the famous 3x4 cut aparts right there. And look how cute. Love this dense pattern of the florals and a super simple page on the back with tiny little hearts. Got all the months 1 through 12, and then we've got this cute little faux stitching pattern of these flowers. I love it. Can't forget the onesies. Oh my goodness, love this plaid. Obsessed. Probably my favorite page. And we have some 4x4s right here. Super cute florals on the back. Sleepy time paper. A little bit of star action right there. Look at this tag page. Way too cute. Love the polka dots. Okay, another second favorite, a third favorite. Okay, my top 3 #1 favorites. Oh my goodness, look at this. I love it. Cute little bows on the back, look. How cute. And then look at this cut aparts page. You got tons of stuff going on in here. Everything to cut around. Nice, another floral page there, kind of like a wildflower. And then, oh my goodness, rainbows, you know me, I'm a fanatic. And the stripes. You can't forget the stripes. Here's a cardstock sticker sheet. Tons of fun stuff in here. I'll leave the paper down below too as well for you. I just love it. Are you ready to start building this book together? Awesome. Let's go ahead and start with the cover and let's get out our paper trimmer, our dull blade, and some chipboard. So I've got my paper trimmer right here ready to go, and I'm going to swap out this paper blade and bring in that dull one I was telling you about. We are totally ready to cut our chipboard now, and I've got my 2 sheets right here. I want to start out with one of them first, but I really want to pay attention to the bendiness. So you'll notice a piece of chipboard might have a nice wobbly side and then more of a stiff side. I actually want us to cut on the stiff side first because when I make a book, if it's long ways this way, I want the rigidity of the book to be stiff left and right because otherwise our piece will kind of start to warp over time, and I like to avoid that by paying attention to the stiff side of the chipboard. So for the cover, we actually are going to need a total of 2 pieces, 5.5 by 7.5. So I'm going to go ahead and find that stiff side again and slide it right in, and I'm going to go straight to the 5.5 mark down here. I've got my nice dull blade ready to go, and I'm going to start way at the top. I've got my piece all the way down here at the plastic ridge, nice and straight. I'm going to apply a little bit of pressure with my hand here, and then come on down. Just one time. I'm going to go ahead and give it a nice flip because I didn't cut all the way through. Again, I'm going to line it right there at the 5.5. Starting again at the top. If I were to start down here, there's a chance my piece can kind of get wonky on me, so I like to restart at the top again, cut towards myself. And there you have it. Nice stiffness. Perfect. I'm going to come back and get another piece out of here in a minute. For now, I'm just going to rotate and extend this arm really quick so I can get that 7.5 out of here. Right at the top. 7.5, best you can get it. Now this time I'm starting at the top since I'm measuring over here. Still staying aligned with this nice plastic ridge. I'm not going to use this one, but I'm going to use this one instead because this one's a lot more straight. Up one time, and again, nice little rotation just like this. Line it up best you can get it. I like to cover the line completely every time, but if you like to expose it every time, whatever your technique is, just stay consistent to it and all your pieces will turn out fantastic. Look at us. 100%. Look at that first cover piece right there. I'm going to repeat that exact same thing with this one. Again, this is the stiff side. Okay, this is the wobbly side. So you see, if we were to cut it this way, our book would kind of bow and bend. So I like to stay nice and stiff. Here we go. Another 5.5 by 7.5 piece. Easy. Restarting at the top. Brilliant. I love it. Absolutely beautiful. We've got 2 pieces right here for our front and back cover. 5.5 by 7.5. Bingo. I'm going to set it off to the side now and get that other piece. You could 100% use a scrap piece for this, but just for simplicity, I'm going to use another 12 by 12. And again, we need 1 piece this time, 1 1/4 by 7.5. Now for me, I'm going to again find that stiff side. And then I'm going to actually just use the right side of the Fiskars paper trimmer. It's awesome. They've got measurements right here. And I'm going to actually find that thick line that indicates 1 inch. And then I'm going to go over 1 more 1/4 of an inch. And I'm going to be right there at 1 1/4. Starting at the top. Cutting towards myself again. Because if I were to measure that way, I'd have a big old floppy piece of chipboard over here. So it's nice to be able to use that other side. So again, I'm going to cut right through again. Best I can get it. And there she is. I'm going to go ahead and give that a rotation, and again, 7.5. Hope you guys are having a fantastic day over there. I bought myself a brand new watch for my birthday. So I'm super excited to wear it. Oh my gosh. Look at this. Cute little spine. We've got all our little pieces now. Let's go ahead and swap this awesome little blade out and bring back in that nice sharp one. We won't be needing this one anymore, so I've got my paper blade back on, ready to go. And I'm going to make a little bit of room. I want to start coating these pieces with a bit of adhesive here on one side. So I'm going to go ahead and get my 1/4 of an inch score tape. I love this size. And I'm going to actually just go around the perimeter on each of my pieces and some on the inside. So I've got 2.5 or so fingers in here, and I kind of just apply a little bit of tension. Got my thumb here. Keeping my fingers off the adhesive to give it its best chance for strength. And I'm just rotating my piece like this. And of course, you can use any glue that you want. This is your project. I'm just showing you the way I do it. You could do it any way you want. And I'm just going to put maybe just 1 strip in there since this book is so small. And of course, you can put as many or as few pieces into your book that you would like. I mean, look at the freedom we have. We can play around any way we want. I love it. I'm just going to get the edges going right here for this next piece. 1 little diagonal strip in there. And then I think I'm just going to go to town on this one. I'm going to get them all stuck up right here in a good way. Perfect. I'm going to bring back my Martha Stewart bone folder now and give it a nice flat burnish, getting that adhesive stuck on that surface. And it also lets that backing come off 100 times easier. This is awesome. I also like to burnish in the direction of the tape, otherwise I might get like a little squiggly worm. So I just rotate my piece and burnish in that direction of the tape. Easy. Here we go. All these steps add up. You are doing awesome. Now that we have these all totally 100% prepared, I actually want to bring out those 2 12 by 12 cardstock pieces I was talking about. I'm going to stack these up, make myself some room here, and bring those in. So I've got my 2 12 by 12 sheets of cardstock right here, and my 3/8 of an inch score tape. I'm going to connect these 2 pieces together to create 1 large piece. Now, because our cover is only about this big, I actually am not going to go all the way down. So I'm going to break my tape along the edge here, lining it up at the edges I can get it, but I'm going to stop right around here. So about 2 inches up, because I want an inch wrapping everywhere. You see that? Perfect. I just don't want to waste extra tape if I don't have to. So I'm going to come back with my bone folder, give it a nice press there. And then I'm going to release the backing. Now as straight as I can get it, I'm going to get this corner lined up here. And then the straighter the tape, the straighter the guide. I'm going to cover that tape completely and just allow the rest of it to just fall on top. And there it is. Be easy on yourself. If it's a little crooked, no big deal. All right, fantastic. Now that we have that going on, I'm going to bring my scoreboard and my scoring tool in for a minute because I want to make a guide at the top here. So I'm going to go ahead and get this piece, set it on my awesome little guy here. The one that has this going on, it's down at the bottom right corner. I'm going to go ahead and lightly score at the 1 inch mark right here on the 12-inch side. And this is just kind of being a score mark. It's not necessarily trying to be a real one. It's just there for a guide. So I'm going to go ahead and slide it up, continue the line. You'll be able to feel it. I'm just kind of bending my paper up. And that's fantastic. So I've got my piece down here like this. Now I have a nice guide at the top of the paper. First things first, I'm going to go ahead and reach into my chipboard little pieces and grab out a nice front or back cover. One of the big pieces. And I'm going to get this piece prepared and then we're going to stick it right there. Now again, I want 1 inch wrapping, so I'm going to focus on the left side being about an inch in. So I'm nice and sticky and ready to go in this top line right here. I'm going to be sticking this little guy an inch inward. Now if you got to dust your chipboard off because you're a little bit hairy, don't mind if you do. Here we go. I'm going to line the top of that chipboard up with that top of that line that we just made. And then give it a nice push. We'll come back and burnish it in a minute. Remember these little scraps we had? We need a spacing between these chipboard pieces before I set my spine down. Let's go ahead and stack up 3 pieces. Now when you venture off making your own books, always make sure you've got 3 pieces of whatever type of chipboard thickness it is that you're using at home. 3 thicknesses in between your cover and your spine. So that'll be a perfect distance. Just 3 pieces right here. And then you would lay your next piece. And you would do that for your next one. But for me, I'm just going to eyeball it because I've been doing this long enough. Here comes the next piece right here. Lining it up best I can get it. Nice little push. And then here comes the last one. Again, another space in between. Otherwise our book will never be able to close. Here it comes. Brilliant, love it. Nice little push right there. You see we got a lot of excess here. So I'm going to be actually trimming along this side and over here with my scissors. Or if you're crazy, you can come in with your paper trimmer like this. I'm actually going to line up the 1 inch mark at the edge of my piece right here. That'll give me a nice 1 inch piece right there. Now I'm going to cut with my scissors on this other long edge. So I'm just going to eyeball 1 inch. Doesn't have to be perfect. Beautiful. Now we've got a nice scrap piece right here. We're going to come back and use him in just a minute. But so far, so good. I'm going to go ahead and now actually give him a really nice flip and a good burnish on the back. Now for this one, we actually didn't even have to worry whatsoever about that overlapping paper line here. See how we completely dodged it? That overlapping paper piece is actually on the back cover. Now if you venture off into your own scrapbooks, make sure you never put this edge at the edge of any of your chipboard edges, because then you'll have a little boo-boo. So we're good for this one. How easy. Again, I'm going to burnish really good on the edges and some on the inside. And now it's time to actually bring back 2 more little scrap pieces of our chipboard. I'm going to make some angles here, just using the things we already have on our table. Super simple. I'm going to stack them up like this, get my pencil, and just make, like, you know, a nice decent angle right here. Marking on the outside of that chipboard piece. I'm going to do that for each corner. It just gives us a nice perfect distance away to trim. It also indicates where to lay the tape. So now I'm going to actually bring in my 1/4 inch score tape again and go all the way around the perimeter of this open book right here. Just around the edges. Now the more you familiarize yourself with these tools, the better you'll get. Okay, look at this. Okay, I've just lined the edges there. Now, I'm gonna pass the pencil mark, stay right there on the cardstock, and stay flush at the bottom. Best I can get it. And then once I pass that pencil mark, I'm just gonna rip it with my fingers. Easy. I'm gonna do the same thing with each side. Pass the pencil mark, rip it at that point. Because we don't need to go all the way to the corner again. We want to save tape. Beautiful. I'm gonna go ahead and bring in my wonderful bone folder now, and again, I'm gonna give it a nice flat burnish. All the pieces here. Now it's the scissors time to shine. I'm going to go ahead and actually start trimming right there on that pencil mark. But I'm going to leave it exposed just for extra precautionary safety purposes. Okay, you see how I just left it there? I'm going to repeat the same thing on this one. Just leave the pencil line, just a smidge. Look at us. Absolutely fantastic. Very small amount of score tape wasted right there on those corners. And there you have it. Look at us. We're done. I'm just kidding. I'm going to go ahead and actually get my thumbs right under here. I'm standing above my work surface now, and I'm going to pre-fold on these. Give it another fold over. Just training that paper to bend and fold. The fibers are getting used to it. Then I'm even going to come back and actually rotate this. Do a little bit of edge contact here. Meaning that I'm getting directly to the edge of the chipboard. Just like this. Right there. Fantastic. Look at us. I'm going to go ahead and remove the top. And then the cover. Thumbs in towards myself. I'm going to pull center down first. And then towards the outside corners while I keep my book nice and flat. Just like this. Kind of at a diagonal pulling motion. There you have it. We'll come back and burnish that one in a minute. I'm going to flip and rotate again. Pre-fold on this cardstock. Edge contact. Prepare it. Center down first. Outward diagonal. Look at us. We're the best. Wow. Unbelievable. I'm going flat burnish now. Because I don't want to poke holes right here. Don't ask me how I know that. Beautiful. Now we're going to work right here. I'm going to get this portion of my bone folder and kind of just pull this in. Sort of like a present. Just pull that in. Get these in there. And you know what? If they don't look the same, that's okay. They're not twins. They're cousins. Phenomenal. We've got that going now. I'm going to go again. Pre-fold. Prepare. Stick it. Absolutely excellent. Flat burnish. Here we are. Let's do the next one. Again, same technique. Just using this, pulling it towards myself, in towards myself. Same thing at the bottom. You'll notice the cover is nice and straight and this little triangle comes down at an angle. That's exactly what we need. Again, pre-fold. Fantastic. Center down first. Outward. Burnish. Unbelievable. Look how cute. Now we actually need to start training that cardstock to fall in between those little chipboard spaces right there. So I'm going to do kind of a dramatic slant here and lift my hand here just under the cover. And go on the other side here. Easy. Just guiding that paper. Same thing on this side. Gentle. Very gently. And look at us. We just made an adorable little cover. Oh my goodness. Oh, and then let's not forget, check out those corners that you did. That's a bingo. Now right here we actually have the little spaces totally visible, but we want to cover those up. So I call this next piece my Gusset Hider piece. So I'm going to go ahead and get out that nice scrap piece that we cut off the cover wrap here if you were using a 12x12. I've got an extra piece right here. So I'm going to bring in my little paper trimmer and I'm just going to cut one piece 4 1/4 by 7 1/2. Now, if you don't know the ruler, I have actually made an entire tutorial on how to read the ruler and get used to the US inches. So if you were interested in that, I'll leave it down in the notes below for you. Get you used to understanding all these different measurements. Absolutely perfect. Look at this. You are doing phenomenal. Cute little piece is going to get stuck on right there, but in a very specific way. So I'm going to go ahead and bring back my 1/4 inch score tape here. And I'm going to go to town again, but I'm not going to go all the way up or down. But my main focus is going to be at the very edge of these chipboard pieces right here. If I am not at the edge, or if there is not enough tape in these areas, we can have a lot of wrinkling. And so that's not so fun. Bubbles may emerge. And it's not the kind of bubbles you really want, like at a birthday bash. At least not for my birthday coming up. So I'm going to go to the edge of all my pieces. And then I'm going to do an extra one right here. On both sides. Then I'm going to take a glance at what my little piece is going to look like. Yeah, I could take about 2 more pieces of tape here and there. So I'm going to slide that off to the side and kind of get this guy perimetered. Is that a word? It can be today. Brilliant. I'm going to come back and give everything a nice burnish right here. Absolutely wonderful. I'm going to go ahead and prepare everything, and we're going to stick this little guy right there. And he's going to be just as tall as our cover. Here I am a month later. I'm totally prepared and ready to go. And I'm going to stick this little guy right on here. And just kind of equalize them best you can. You can kind of see the fold marks of the book there. Nice and level. Best you can get it. Nice and flat. Wow, the book is nice and flat. Here we are. Now I'm going to burnish the absolute daylights out of it. Beautiful. Now I'm going to, again, nice dramatic fold. I'm going to actually need to train another one of these pieces of cardstock in between the chipboard here. Just lift it nice and gently. Same thing to the other side. Look at us go. That is cute. Kind of work it just gently. And that is awesome. Now, if you're using kraft, it is a bit more rigid, so it might kind of bow open on you, but as we continue to build onto this book, everything's going to lay nice and good. Are you ready to start cutting out all the inner workings? It's so easy, comes together quick. Let's do it. I'm going to go ahead and set this pretty little book cover off to the side and bring in my 8.5 by 11 cardstock, as well as my paper trimmer. So I've got my stack here and my paper trimmer totally ready to go, and I would love for us to actually first cut out this cute little simple pocket right here on the front, this page, and the flap. And then we'll come back and kind of cut out all these other little doodads here. So the pocket is going to be 1 piece 4 by 6.5. So I'm going to go ahead and grab this little guy here, long ways horizontal. I'm going to go right down at the 4. And again, the how to read the ruler tutorial I will leave in the notes down in the description. Absolutely perfect. There's 4, and then I'm going to extend this actually to get that 6.5 out of there. You'll kind of see it through the translucent plastic if you're using the same trimmer as me. And that's bingo. I'm going to have my pencil handy. And I'm going to give it a little label. So I'm going to go FIC pocket. So FIC stands for front inside cover. And then I'm going to write pocket. And I'm going to create a little pile right over here. Now let's cut out page 1. We've got a nice scrap right here. 1 piece 5.5 by 7.5. Super easy. I'm going to go long ways horizontal with the scrap piece. 5.5. And then give it a nice rotation to 7.5. And then I'm actually going to write page 1. That easy. Into the same pile right on top of that front inside cover pocket. Now we have a super simple flap, so I'm going to go ahead and get another piece of cardstock here. I'm going to cut 1 piece 4.5 by 5.5. This time I'm going to actually go long ways horizontal, 5.5. I'm going to save this scrap piece here. And then give it a nice rotation and cut 4.5. Perfect. I'm going to go ahead and call this flap and into the pile. Now I actually want us to cut out that cute little file folder pocket here. So that's this one. And then we'll move on to these pieces. So that's a simple piece, measuring in at 1 piece 4 3/4 by 6. So I might be able to use this little scrap piece here. Yep. How easy. I'm going to go ahead and name this one File, just for short. Pocket. Super cute. And I'm going to go ahead and stick that in the pile as well. And then the next piece is actually going to be page 2. So it's that other little extra unit that's just kind of connected right here. One piece, 4.5 by 5.5. Brand new piece here. Long ways horizontal, 5.5. Rotate, 4.5. I'm going to name this page 2. Into the pile. Now the back and side cover has a super cute little pocket, sort of like a pouch with a flap closure. Now that's going to be one piece, 5.5 by 6.5. Again, I'm going to go long ways horizontal right here, 5.5. Then I'm going to rotate right up here, 6.5. And I'm going to call this a BIC pocket. Back and side cover pocket right there into the pile. Same one. Now that has a flap, super easy. One piece, 4.5 by 5.5. Now this is going to look like 5.5, but once you cut it, it's actually less. Sometimes they give us a paper that's not exactly 8.5 by 11. So I'm going to actually get a new piece, and I'm going to use this for a scrap later. And then I'm going to name this one BIC Flap, because that one goes with the other one. Easy. Awesome, right in the pile. Now I've got a few tags and like a cute little tuck. So let's cut out a super cute little tag, tucks, and then our little booklets and photo mats. And that'll wrap up all the base cutting. Can you believe it? It's so super quick. So I'm going to go ahead and reach into my scrap pile. I've got a couple smaller pieces here. I'm going to cut out 2 tags. So that's 2.5 by 4.5. And I'm just going to write tag on both and kind of just set them in their own pile over there. The next piece I want to cut is just that simple photo mat that goes right on the front and side cover. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this down to 4 by 5.5. Unbelievably perfect. I'm just going to put PM on it because that's just photo mat. And I'm going to stick it right on top of those tags over there. And then we've got a cute little tucky. I'm going to use a really small little scrap piece for this. All we need is a piece that is 2 1/4 by 4.5. So I'm just going to reach into my scraps again and get this little guy out of there. I'm going to name him Tuck. You can do Tucker or Tucky. Maybe I'm going to go Tucky this time. Super, super simple. I'm going to go ahead and set that off to the side there, right on top of the other pieces. Now we have a photo mat that is also kind of sweet, cute, and tiny. So there's one that actually gets glued down onto the surface and one that gets tucked in for just extra interaction and funness. We just made this one. Let's go ahead and cut out one piece, 3 by 4. And we don't have to label this one. I'm just going to set it off into the pile. We'll remember which one it is. And then there's one piece, 2.5 by 3.5. Beautiful. Again, no labeling for this one. So I'm going to set it off to the side because we'll remember which one it is. And then that gets us straight to our booklets. So we need a total of 2 pieces, 5.5 by 8. So I'm going to go ahead and take this piece, and again, you'll notice actually that any 8.5 by 11 piece is sometimes not exactly 11. So first, let's go ahead and cut our 8 long ways vertical. And then when you rotate it and cut 5.5, you're going to notice these two are not the same size. If that doesn't bother you, go, totally use both. I'm kind of a perfectionist, so I like everything to be the same. So I've got my first little booklet here. I'm going to write book on it, set it off in the pile, and I'm going to cut another one. I'll save this scrap for later. Easy. And I'm going to write book on this one too, and into the pile it goes. We're totally done trimming all the bases for this book. I'm going to make a little bit of room and actually bring back my scoreboard and my scoring tool. So I've got my scoreboard and my scoring tool totally ready to go. And now I'm going to grab that nice pile that we made with the back and side cover flaps and pockets and stuff. And I'm going to give it a nice flip upside down so I can work with everything in order. Now the first piece you might see is your front and side cover pocket. Now I'm going to easily just totally slide this guy up with a 6.5 inch side along the top. And I'm first going to score at 1/2 inch. And then I'm actually going to rotate to the opposite side. I have my score mark over here now. I'm going to mark again at 1/2 inch. Now you're probably wondering, Francis, why do you go from this edge inward instead of just marking over here? Well, when I start from here and go in, I have a nice exact 1/2 inch no matter how I cut my paper. And my books always turn out really nice. And I know yours will too. Unbelievably perfect. I'm going to set that in the finished pile there and grab the next piece. And this is page 1. Let's go ahead and line up page 1 with the 5 and 1/2 inch side along the top and score 1/2 inch. That easy. Totally done with it. The next piece in line is a flat. I'm going to line this one up with the 4 1/2 inch side along the top. And again, 1/2 inch. Perfect. Off in the finished pile. My next piece is actually my file pocket. So a cute little file folder pocket right here. I'm going to actually start with the 4 3/4 inch side along the top. And I'm going to score 1/2 inch. But this time, I'm actually going to make a rotation to the left one time. And I'm going to score 1/2 inch again. So I'm on the 6 inch side. 1/2 inch. Perfect. Into the finished pile. Page 2 is our next little guy. I'm going to go ahead and line him up 4 1/2 inches along the top. 1/2 inch. You got this. Perfect. Now the last two pieces in line are for our back and side cover. I've got the pocket right here. Back and side cover pocket. I'm actually going to line this one up 6 1/2 inch side along the top. And I'm going to score 1/2 inch. Rotate to the opposite side again. Score mark over here now. Restarting 1/2 inch again. Unreal. Totally done with this guy. Last but not least, I've got the wonderful, cute little back and side cover flap. We're going to line this one up with the 4 1/2 inch side along the top and simply score at 1/2 inch. Absolutely perfect. We've got booklets, all right? These little booklets need a score mark. You could just fold it in half, but if you want it to look pretty, let's go ahead and line up our booklets, both the same as each other, 8 inches along the top, and simply score right in half at the 4. Perfect. Now, last but not least, we have little Tucky. Let's go ahead and line him up with the 4 1/2 inch side along the top and score at 2 1/4. Just like that. And that's all our cute little pieces, totally 100% ready to go. We are completely done with scoring. I love it. We've got our cute little photo mats and tags right here. They have no scoring on them. So now I'm going to make a little bit of room here and actually get out my 3/8 of an inch score tape. And I'm going to get my fingers and my bone folder ready to go because we're going to start folding on our pieces and adding some tape. So I've got my awesome little pile right here. I'm going to get my Tucky, fold them in half, giving them a nice crease here. And move them off to the side. I've also got my booklet, and I like to fold actually towards that bumpy part of the score mark. Creates that nice traditional card maker's fold right there. Nice fold, nice crease, and here we have it. In love. Again, you'll kind of fill all your pages sort of opening, but once we get some more heavy cardstock on there and matting everything, we'll be totally good to go. You can also do closures too if you wanted. Here's that bumpy part of the score mark again, folding towards it. Center up, center down, nice even crease mark right there. And then I'm going to continue doing that with each of my pieces, folding towards that bumpy part, just like that. Center up, center down. I also like to fold onto it like this. Beautiful, absolutely fantastic, I love it. So I'm going to keep folding towards my bumpy part of the score mark right there, till I'm all finished up. Beautiful. Everything's got wonderful little score marks, totally folded, and I 100% love it. Let's go ahead and locate our page 1, and let's throw some tape on him. I'm going to go ahead and get my 3/8 of an inch score tape because it fits perfectly right there on that 1/2 inch mark that we made. So I'm going to go ahead and get them, throw them on. Then I'm going to set this guy off to the side. Okay, he's gonna be in his own special pile. Important note, special pile, page 1. I'm setting him away. Now that he's got that on there. Now I'm also gonna grab out page 2. So I just did PG-2, okay? It's a PG-12 movie, not a PG-13. I'm gonna go ahead and add some tape on him too, okay? Normally, I get my pieces and I stick adhesive on the mountain side of all my pieces. Look at this. Right on the mountain side, I always stick my adhesive, okay? Special note, setting him off into his own special pile. I'm kind of doing a pre-burnish with my fingers. He's going to sit on top of page 1. They're going to hang out over there by themselves. Now everything else, mountain side, 3/8 on the 1/2 inch marks right here. I've got my front inside cover pocket. I'm just ripping with my fingers generally. You could use a credit card, you could use the edge of a ruler if you want to make it a little bit straighter. Perfect. Okay, front inside cover pocket. Flipping it, getting 1/4 of an inch, closing down one long edge here. So when it comes together like this, we're going to have a nice closure. Okay, unbelievably cute. Here comes a flap. Just a basic flap. Again, mountain side of the... Wonderful. You see how it kind of... Right here on this side. And then the file folder pocket. I'm not going to add any adhesive in this little square. I'm going to keep that guy empty. I'm going to go ahead and bring in 3/8 again. Break it off at that point when I get to that cute little square. And that's fantastic. That's the file folder pocket style there. Here's a back inside cover pocket. And again, flipping onto the inside, closing one long edge here with some adhesive. 1/4 of an inch closure, 1/2 inch sides. Look at us, perfect. Here comes that BIC back flap again, 3/8, 1/2 inch parts. And you could do decorative corner punching on here if you're familiar with this, but again, I'm keeping this so unbelievably simple for a beginner. Maybe they don't have that tool yet. Maybe they don't have magnets or ribbon. Maybe they only have the basic tools. Here we go, back inside cover flap. He's all taped up. Our little booklets don't really need any tape on them, so we're 100% good with that. I'm going to come back now with my wonderful bone folder, give everything a nice burnish so this nice step comes super easy to us once we're ready to peel that off. I'm going to remember to flip my pockets the other way too and burnish the inside. Now there's a very important reason why I stuck page 1 and page 2 off into their own little pile over there, is because I don't want to cut into them on this next stage. Super important. Everything's nice and burnished. Let's go ahead and bring scissors back in. Mr. Scissor is going to do some confetti making. Okay, we've got a corner here. I want to reduce the bulk and kind of make it just a bit smaller there. See how I did that? I want to go right from in here, cut outward right at that score mark. I'm going to restart again. And I'm going to do it like that. Now I'm only doing this mitering technique to these pieces. Now this guy, I'm going to kind of just go in for it right there. I'm careful not to cut into this main piece. So kind of did a maneuver like that. Same technique. It's okay, it's handmade. If you make a little mistake, that's okay. It's made with love. Look at us go. I'm going to continue kind of making some little confetti pieces here. You are doing excellent. We're almost at the decorating stage already. Can you believe it? And there you have it. Right there. Birthday bash. My birthday's coming up, so I'm going to save this for mine. But if you have like a wedding coming up or anything, just, you know what I mean? Come on, look. You got to hold on to this. All right, we've got all our pieces right here. And we did not miter our main pages. Okay, so they're unmitered. They look seamless once they go onto the book. So speaking of that cute little book, let's bring it in. Here she is. Now I'm going to actually locate that overlapping paper. If you have that, I'm going to set mine to the back. Once mine's at the back, I'm going to open it up nice and good here. And I'm going to begin working on the front inside cover. So I'm going to locate my front inside cover pocket right here. And this little guy is going to go right inside here. Now, first things first, I'm going to prepare that 1/4 of an inch closure down at the bottom. And then fold my 1/2 inches right on top. Now, if you wanted to do like a decorative edge punch here for cuteness, 100%, you could do it right now. But I'm going to keep it nice, flat, and simple. And I'm going to prepare these edges now. And then with the closure down right at the bottom, I'm going to focus bottom left corner over here. And I'm going to guide my piece on. Lining up those edges and the bottom, providing a little bit of tension of pulling this way. Flattening it out. Burnishing it on, look how easy. That's so cute, I love it. This is a nice little base to work with. You can add tons of different flaps and interactions to yours as you continue. If you ever wanted to know actually how I make books and design them from scratch, I'll leave that whole movie down below for you so you know how I go about designing my books. Now the next piece I actually want us to stick on is page 1. So let's go ahead and find page 1 right here. He's gonna go right here on the spine. And you'll notice this little bend point and this edge here. I wanna make sure that when I lay this flap on, that we're not encroaching in on the fold. We're just gonna stay right here on the spine and you'll be able to see it. There we go. This page is actually exactly the same height as the cover, so it's nice to kind of just match them up with that Gusset Hider that we made before. Brilliant. Just like that. That's simple. I just flipped them, had the adhesive facing down, and lined them up. Let's do that again with page 2. Same exact way as page 1. See, I've got my piece here. This guy is going to get flipped and set, bucked up, right against the edge of this other fold of the previous page. So let's do it. Now you could put this guy up or down, all the way up, all the way down, in the middle, anywhere you want to go. It's your book. I'm going to go ahead and eyeball the middle. Try not to get my afro on the camera here. Then I'm going to burnish that little flap on there. Alongside that, I'm going to kind of give this a nice crease to page 1 from the back. And look how simple. That's why we didn't miter it. I just wanted to kind of blend in with the rest of it. Super simple concept. Look at this. Unbelievable. Okay, let's go ahead and now work on page 1. So we just stuck this cute little pocket down and this flap in this main page. Now let's go ahead and get out that flap that goes on here. This one just says flap. Now for this one, I'm actually going to use the tuck back technique for this one. So I can line this up. So sometimes it's inevitable that we're going to touch the adhesive on certain techniques. So I frequently wash my hands and I avoid wearing lotions. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tuck this back and line this edge up with page 1. Easy, I'm going to center it. You can put it all the way up or all the way down again. However you'd like. I'm just going to kind of try to meet the center best I can. And that's good enough for me. I'm going to burnish it. How cute. I love it. Now we'll come back and actually add this file folder pocket in just a minute. We actually have to shape them up. So I'm going to move on actually and go straight to the back inside cover here and get out my back inside cover pocket. And I'm going to prepare him. And again, you could do decorative edges. You could do a notch on the top of your pocket here. But for me, I'm keeping it as simple as can be. I'm going to tuck those little 1/2 inch flaps onto that 1/4 inch. I'm going to remove the 1/4 inch first. Now this time I'm focusing on the bottom right corner here. Coming right in. Now sometimes I add paper to cover all these little inner workings, but for this book it's so simple, I'm not going to bother coming back with another page. Our inserts don't bump into it too bad. Here we go. We're 100% good. Look at us. See this simple flap again? I'm going to use the fold back technique again. So I'm going to go ahead and prepare my back inside cover flap that goes right up here, tucking it back, focusing on the top right corner, lining it up with the edge of the cover right here, excuse me. There it is. Again, you can do decorative little corners here if you wanted. You can even snip them, whatever it is that you want to do. But I'm just keeping everything nice and square. I'm feeling square today. Nice little burnish, look how cute. We also have space for a magnet too if we want to do an alteration to this book later on. Fantastic. I have plenty of classes that teach how to do that and different swivel closure techniques, ribbon closures, you name it, all part of the membership. Oh my goodness, I am super excited. Okay, so we've got that going on. I'm going to set this awesome book off to the side now and actually bring in the file folder little pocket. And then I'm going to have my pencil handy and my ruler. In this orientation where you've got the closure on the right hand side and the bottom, I'm going to go ahead and tuck these two things back here. And from this top right corner in this way, I'm going to get my ruler and line up 1 3/8 at the very edge of my paper piece and mark at the 0 right here. And then from this bottom left corner, I'm going to go up 1 3/8 of an inch as well. So I'm going to line up 1 3/8. I'm going to hang my ruler off of my piece actually, so I can mark the page. Right there, 1 3/8 is lining up at the very bottom edge of this page. Then I'm going to mark at the 0. And then these two lines are going to connect in the paper trimmer right at that initial point. I'm going to go ahead and open everything up again so I can work with it just a bit easier. I'm going to leave those marks in right in the grooves of where that blade goes in the paper trimmer. Once I'm ready, I'm going to trim it off. Fantastic, and you know what? I'm not throwing this in the trash. We're going to come back and use this cute little triangle in just a minute, so I'm going to set it up at the top. But for now, you've got your cute little file folder pocket ready to go. So I'm going to take my scissors and open up page 2. I'm on the very back of page 1. I'm going to bring back that cute little file folder pocket, and I'm going to prepare it by just tucking down that bottom one, overlapping the side one on top of it. So I've got a nice little L shape forming. And then I'm going to actually stick this bottom right corner, but a little detail is that I'm not going to go fully to the bottom right, because if I fold this flap here and there, it may get just a little bit too thick. So I'm going to actually pull it just a hair away and then keep it consistent straight all the way up. You see how I left a little sliver there? Just a little sliver. Very, very small amount. I might have even gone too far, but I'm exaggerating it for the video. Because when this page starts to fold, I don't want it to bump in and not be able to open properly. And there are different scoring techniques that I show in all of my other classes where I've got very flat laying pages, but for this simplicity and learning about a book for the first time, I think this is an excellent book to start with. Look how precious. I'm going to go ahead and flatten everything out here. Get that on there really well. And that looks gorgeous. Now our super cute little booklets and tags can fit here and there. Look how fun. The tag would go in here. This other little guy in here. And of course, this is just something to start with. I've got my simple photo mat right here and my fold over tucky. And then this little corner pocket will be played in here. Now, if it's a little bit too long, you can kind of just pull it where you want it. Make a little mark with your pencil and where to trim. And you can trim that in your trimmer. Or you can come along with your scissors and just play. Trim that little guy off so he can fit there, but we're not going to stick him on yet because we still have to put design paper on here. So I'm going to stick him in here, and he's going to hang out until we get to him. And then this guy will be glued down and this tucked in. So we've got a couple little extra bits floating around until they get their homes made, but that just looks fantastic, doesn't it? How cute. So now let's just make a little bit of room now and bring in our fantastic paper trimmers with that white cardstock or whatever kind of colored cardstock it is that you want to be the border around your photographs. I love white because it always looks seamless and nice. So this little book can hold quite a few little pictures here, so let's start cutting out the mats for those. Let's cut out our A pieces. First, 14 pieces, 3 3/4 by 5 1/4. I want to actually start in the long ways position here and go 3 3/4. And I want to repeat that again. And then I want to rotate them and cut 5 1/4. 2 times to get 4 pieces out of one sheet. And then I'm going to repeat that until I have a total of 14 pieces. Easy. Awesome, I've got a total of 14 pieces, 3 3/4 by 5 1/4. So now I'm actually going to get my pencil. And I'm only going to label the top one with a nice simple A letter. We'll come back to these in just a little bit. Now I just need, out of a scrap piece right here, a B. One piece, 2 3/4 by 3 3/4. Super simple. I'm going to go ahead and label this one B. And then a total of 2 C's, 2 1/4 by 3 1/4. Awesome. So I'm going to go ahead and label these the 2 C's and stick them into the picture mat pile. I like to call them picture mats because we mat our picture right on top of them. And then a total of 4 pieces, 2 by 2. How easy is that? I'm not going to label these ones since it's going to be super easy to know which ones they are because they're just a square. But I can label just maybe just the top one with the letter D and into the pile. Now you can skip this step. I'm going to make a little bit of room and bring in my ink pad and my little stamp because I like to put like a cute little photo indicator. Everyone uses different stamps. I should be coming out with one pretty soon. It's going to be hand-sketched version of this old school analog camera my dad had when I was a kid. So I'm going to come out with my own clear mount stamp coming soon, so keep your eye out for that. But I'm going to go ahead and bring these in, and I'm going to start with my cute little squares right here. I'm going to flip that D over so I don't have to erase the pencil mark. And I just like to do this because sometimes I sell these, and if this was a little camera, then I can indicate to the person where to stick the picture. And it adds like a cute little sweet touch. Now the project will even come together even quicker if you skip this step. Now because these are just a square, it doesn't matter which orientation this little picture mat is in. I'm just going to try to hit the center best I can. Now if you kind of have a funky one, you can always come back, flip it over, and use the other side. Perfect. I'm going to let those air dry right up at the top. Then I'm going to bring back my C's. I'm going to be in the vertical position for these ones. It's summer break over here, so this is always the trickiest time for me to film projects, but look at us. Super cute. So I've got a letter B as well. I'm going to go ahead and flip that. And in the vertical long ways position, I'm going to go ahead and stamp a little cute heart right there. And then for the rest of my A's, actually, I'm going to go one of them horizontal and the rest vertical. Here we go. Beautiful. I just got done stamping everything. I'm closing my little stamp set area so I don't ink everything up. And then we are good to go. I cannot wait to start adding these actually into our book. It's actually that time now. I'm going to give a little wipe down to the table real quick, just in case there's extra ink. Let that dry. And we're going to come back and start sticking these into our book. So I'm going to go ahead and bring our book in here, and we're going to focus right here on the front and side cover. This simple little tucker. Why don't we just work on him? Little tucky. These all get placed right on here. Now, if you have a camera stamp that's a bit too big, you can always skip this step and just kind of leave these white. That's what I do sometimes. Now, you can use any kind of tape roller you want, but this one's my #1 favorite, the ATG Gun. I also have a little tutorial on how to deal with this gun if it is not really your best friend. I'll leave that in the description as well. But once you become friends with it, it can really be a wonderful ally. Look at us. I'm going to go ahead and do the edges, just since these are so small. I'm only going to do the perimeter. And you can stick these however. I'm going to do 2 upright like this. And then when they open it, I'm going to do 2 more upright. And I'm just going to leave a nice little border right there. Nice little 1/8 of an inch border. You kind of just eyeball it. Center it on. Come back with your nice little bone folder. Get it all nice and burnished on. How cute is that? That's going to go right back in here. So I'm going to take some of these out here so we can start working on them. I'm going to tuck him in, set him off to the side. And let's bring in that very large little PM. Remember when we marked PM? This guy goes on our front and side cover. Let's go ahead and actually get 2 vertical guys, or whatever orientation. You can customize this to your liking, whatever fits your style. I'm going to put one front and back like this. I like to do a little bit on the inside for a bigger mat. And then around the perimeter. Super simple. Again, nice little 1/8 of an inch border right there. And then I'm going to flip it and stick the other one on the back. Beautiful. Nice little burnish. Excellent. I'm going to stick that right inside this book. And then move on to the next piece. Remember, this one that goes here is a little bit bigger. So let's go ahead and grab that one. That's our letter B. There's only one B. And then let's grab the one that fits it out of our pile. See this one? Right here. I didn't label it. I'll label it in the cut list. But very simple. The B goes on top of this one. You'll see how it fits on. I didn't think to label it since it was such a tiny project, but when we got bigger projects with more pieces, that definitely helps. Now I only want to stick one on one side because this one's going to be stuck down onto the book itself. Now, if you wanted to watch this entire tutorial ad-free, you can check out the link in the description. It'll take you straight to my website. No ads over there. And there's also a cute little coupon over there for you if you wanted to explore all the classes, because once you subscribe to the classes, you get instant access to every class I've ever created. I'm climbing up to 85 different design books. You get access to the community to share your projects with everyone. We have so much fun over there. We do album challenges. So if you were thinking you wanted to do that, go ahead and check out the link to the class below and take advantage of that coupon. We have a blast creating together. Now my letter C's are actually going to go front and back on this tinier photo mat here. Super easy. Nice little burnish. Totally taped on the wrong side of the other one. That's all right. Give him a little stamp and he's good to go. Awesome. We totally matted these cute little pieces. I'm going to stick them in the front inside cover pocket for now. We'll come back and do the tags and all that with the design paper, which we are totally almost ready to do. Now it's actually time for us to start sticking the rest of the pieces around here. Let's first actually put on this one. See how he's long ways horizontal? Let's go all the way to the back. You could put some little scissors on here to kind of keep it open. And this guy is going to fit perfectly right here with a beautiful 1/8 of an inch border all the way around. So again, I'm going to get my fantastic little ATG Gun buddy and get him coated up. Put this guy in there as best I can get him. Beautiful, nice little burnish. And he's 100% ready to go. Now he was the only landscape version. You could even put another one here, or you could put your decorative paper, totally customizable. Make it however you want. Bringing us right back here to the front page, I'm going to actually continue reaching in my pile, sticking on some tape, and distributing these wonderful little mats for our 3.5 by 5 photos all throughout the book. So the first piece I got right here is going to be for this nice little flap. Now again, this is customizable. You don't necessarily need to add this pocket. You could just put another one of these there if you wanted. But I'm just going to go straight away right here on the front, right here. 1/8 of an inch border, top, bottom, left and right. And I've got all my pieces prepared now, so I can continue to just kind of flip and stick. So right here on page 2, we've got a couple on the front and back. Easy. And our booklets have a total of 4 pieces on the front and back and on the inside. So I'm going to go ahead and take my other little guy out of here, get this little book out of the way, and stick them on. How simple is this? Anyone can do this. You could absolutely do anything in this world that you set your heart and mind to. Cute. Everything gets a nice, happy little burnish. And that's just brilliant. Fantastic. I'm going to put these right back into the book. And then I'm going to erase some of my pencil lines here. And this is awesome. Can you believe what time it is? Yep. It's time to take out our design paper and get some fun, happy papers on this book. So I've got my paper totally ready to go here. And you know what? I am completely in love with this circle paper. So I'm going to actually choose this out for my front cover first. I always like to choose out my front cover pieces. That way I don't cut into them too early. We will not be using this whole stack. Again, I love this design of this book because we still have a whole 12 by 12 page to work with, and we don't end up using the whole piece. So we can actually decorate the front completely. So I'm going to actually use the same design paper for the front, back, and spine. So I'm going to go ahead and first cut out the 2 cover pieces that measure 5 1/4 by 7 1/4. It is nice to kind of measure out and kind of check to see if that's exactly the width that you want for this, because when we build books, sometimes the measurements kind of grow a little bit, but for mine, this actually worked out well. So I'm going to go ahead and do 5 1/4 by 7 1/4 right here. It's kind of an invisible line right there on the Fisker's trimmer. And then that'll be for my front, and that looks beautiful. I'm going to go ahead and get another one out of here. 5 1/4 long ways here. That way I have a piece for the spine. And 7 1/4 again. And then for our spine, we just need one piece, 1 1/4 by 7 1/4. So I'm going to cut 7 1/4 first. And then come back and cut 1 1/4 over here. Remember how we line that up on this side? Any side you measure on, you take that piece. So if I measure on the right, I take the right piece. If I measure on the left, I take the left piece. And there they are. Super cute. I'm gonna make actually a little bit of room here first. And I like to use score tape because I can really control the edges of where I contact this. And I actually have a full podcast episode 1 on why I choose to use the tools and when. So I'll leave that episode down in the description for you if you wanted to check that one out. I get in all the depth and the detail of all the different supplies I use. So right here, I'm gonna really control the edges here since wear and tear of the book. This is the exterior, so I really wanna make sure I get to the edge. And I'm just gonna do a simple line on the inside right here. I'm going to come back and give everything a nice burnish and then prepare my pieces to be stuck on. So depending on how you have your images, make sure this is the front of your book. So go ahead and check yours, and then you can actually add a ribbon closure here now. I have tons of different classes that demonstrate that, but again, this one is really simple. So I'm just gonna go 1/8 of an inch border right here. Just let it fall on. Here comes the next one. So if you have like a little giraffe or images, just make sure they're going up and down and your book is in the right orientation. Otherwise, you might have a little boo-boo. I'm gonna stand my book up like this so I can get the spine going here. Guide that on. And burnish everything. Oh my goodness. This is extremely adorable. That brings us to the front inside cover. So right here on the front inside cover, I'm gonna go ahead and make a little bit of room here. Take my little inserts out of there. And then I wanna start working right here. So let's go ahead and mat the pocket and the base of this piece. So this base is actually going to be 1 piece 3 3/4 by 5 1/4. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut that out. Now I love to lay my pages around to kind of think of what I want, where I want it. And I really love how the green is kind of being pulled out here into this little solid area. And then so when our inserts are in there, I can kind of deck out the inserts to kind of bring back the pink. So I'm gonna cut this one down. This cute little seafoam green page. And then that's just gonna kind of tuck over those 1/2 inch flaps right there. You can cut it all the way down to kind of overlap that inner working, but my insert didn't have too much trouble hanging out in there. And I want to save a little bit of paper, so I don't have to go all the way down, but you can if you want. Now for this little cute front and side pocket, that's just going to be 1 piece 3 3/4 by 5 1/4. This time I really want to use this adorable plaid that I was telling you about. So it's actually the exact same measurement as the other one. How fun is this? Oh my goodness, I'm gonna go ahead and stick these on. Since we're on the interior of the book, I'm just gonna use my ATG gun. I'm gonna go ahead and stick my pocket right here, nice 1/8 of an inch border. And then this one, you're gonna kind of feel it go right over those little 1/2 inch flaps right there. Perfect. Once you have it, you kind of work inside your pocket here. Get that nice and burnished on. And burnished on your pocket. How cute is that? I'm going to bring back my little fun little guys, see what they look like in here. And then that tag, we'll deck that tag out in just a minute. I'm going to leave my other little pieces out. We'll come back to this corner pocket in just a bit. But look how cute. That moves us right here onto page 1. Now the front and the back are the same size and the same piece. So we're going to need a total of 2 pieces. 4 3/4 by 7 1/4. I am really in love with this really fun, dense floral pattern. So I'm gonna go ahead and choose that one out. And I'm gonna cut these down. After that initial cut at 4 3/4, I'm gonna slide the second piece over and go to 7 1/4. So I can kind of save more paper here. So I'm gonna get my first piece out of this one. And then the next one, right out of here. You could have even gotten 2 out of here as well. So now I've got a nice big piece. That's why it's always great to watch these tutorials all the way through if you wanted to take notes and kind of save on paper. Here we go. I'm going to stick that one there and this one right back here. This paper is way too cute, and I think it looks perfect with kraft. Nice 1/8 of an inch border right there. I'm gonna go ahead and flip this one. You'll feel the 1/2 inch flaps, you'll kind of bump into them. Just kind of lift your piece and guide them on. And pay attention to that 1/8 of an inch down at the bottom here, the corner and the top. And then once you're on there, go ahead and burnish. Look how exciting. Oh my goodness, this is turning out so cute. I just love it. Phenomenal. Now let's go ahead and mat on the inside of this one. Now if you wanted to add another picture mat, you can 100% do that. I want to bring back actually this scrap piece right here from when I cut this. I'm going to bring that over here, and we just need one piece that measures 3 3/4 by 5 1/4. So I'm going to go ahead and cut that out. So this is already 3 3/4, so that works out perfect. I'm just going to go 5 1/4 right there, and then I'm going to stick them there. Completely in love. Now we can actually add this little pocket. For simplicity, I'm actually just going to add a little bit of glue here and here. And you could use your wet glue if you wanted to get way into that little corner there. I'm just going to stick mine, lining it up with that base colored cardstock way to the corner. That's how mine's going to fit on here. Now if it's a little bit wonky, you can always come back and correct that if it's a little bit funny on the other side. Ooh, that kind of looks cute, just kraft by itself. Maybe you can come back with like a little chalk mark or something. I think I want to bring this flavor back over here. So this cute little simple pocket might be different for everybody. So I'm going to kind of just measure mine out. Seems about to be 3 7/8 here by 2 3/4. So I just need to minus 1/4 inch from each measurement. That's a little trick there for you. So 1/4 less than 3 7/8 is going to be 3 5/8. And then 1/4 shy of 2 3/4 is 2 1/2. And I'm going to set this cute little piece right on top of my fantastic little dude. I'm going to put this behind here so you can see. So I'm going to find that corner pocket, and the very tip corner, I'm going to go down 1/8, over 1/8, and mark onto the design paper. Just straight from that corner of the design paper, over 1/8, go there, and we'll make any corrections if we need to. So I'm going to line these two little nick marks inside my paper trimmer right here. Give it a nice little snip, and let's see what happened. Yeah. That looks phenomenal. I'm sticking it. This is actually a good opportunity to come back now with your wet glue because this is a tiny little corner. So I want to make sure I get all the way over there. What's your favorite glue to use? Do you like everything wet glue or everything dry glue? Leave a comment down below. I'd love to know. Sometimes my applications for these glues change here and there. Let me go ahead and burnish that one on. And look how fantastic that is. Now we can actually come back and get our cute little guy and stuff him in there. And we can even stick this little guy there. You can even leave an opening like a U shape if you wanted to tuck a tag in here. How fun would that be? You could do absolutely anything. I'm going to stick it straight center, up and down, left and right, best I can get it. I want to make sure it does stay underneath the flap, so it's kind of a surprise. Very fast drying glue. Oh my goodness. That's where it's going to live. Safely putting the pin right back on here. And that moves us on to the back. So now we actually need the mat for this cute little file folder pocket. I reached into my stack and actually got this gorgeous watercolor wash paper right here. It's on the back of this gorgeous floral print. So I'm gonna go ahead and actually bring my paper trimmer in here. I'm gonna shave off the packaging a little bit there. And I wanna get some of the darker value of this. So I think I'm gonna do my first cut in this orientation. And we just need one piece, 4 inches by 5 1/4. So this is the section I got out of there. How cute is that? I'm going to come back and watercolor a paper pack that has something like this one day. That looks like a blast to make. So far I've got actually 2 paper collections. I love watercolor painting and I produce the papers at home. I'll leave my Etsy shop down below if you wanted to check those out. So now that we have this, I'm going to line this pocket right on top. I'm going to get my pencil and find that corner of that base cardstock here. I'm going to go down 1/8 and over 1/8 onto the page. And then I'm going to find this other corner right up here and go over 1/8. Down 1/8 here. Just like before, I'm going to line those in. Look how easy. I'll line those little guys in the little groove of the paper trimmer. Make a little cut. Dry fit. And we're 100% in business. I'm going to erase these little pencil marks, get some adhesive on here, and stick them. How cute is this? I am completely in love with that pocket. I'm going to stick my little booklet back in there, and we can do this pocket up. I can even imagine a cute little sticker here. How fantastic is that? I'm going to go ahead and flip this over, and then we're going to work right here. Let's go ahead and cut out this flap, which is just one piece, 3 3/4 by 5 1/4. I am totally in love with this paper, and I'm going to choose this one again. And I'm going to kind of keep in mind what patterns are coming this way, because while this page is splayed open, I'm going to be able to see the back. So I don't want to do too many color repeats unless that's the style you're going for, or too many pattern repeats for that matter. I'm in love with this one, so that's the one I'm going to choose. That one's going to go there. And then the base pocket right here, this nice piece, it's just going to be a square, 5 1/4 by 5 1/4. How easy is that? You know what? I'm going to come back with this one. Now, I'm going to remove my little guys here, now that I got that mat for that. There's going to be one piece that covers up all this stuff going on. Let's go ahead and cut that little mat out, 2 inches by 5 1/4. And again, you don't have to go all the way down, but you can if you want. But for me, my inserts are totally smooth, so I'm going to actually just hit up a little guy in there. And what pattern do I want for that? I think I want to repeat that pattern again. As a matter of fact, so I'm going to use this one. Just 2 inches by 5 1/4. Easy. I'm going to get these all taped up and stick them down. How lovely is that? I'm going to go ahead and add my little booklet into here, add my little tag, and then we can actually mat our little tags now. So I'm going to go ahead and pull this one out. For our tags, we're just going to need a total of 2 to 4 pieces, depending on if you wanted to keep this just plain or however you want to do it. 2 1/4 by 4 1/4. I'm actually going to use that nice watercolor wash because I think it's a nice little writing surface since it's a bit of a solid color. Now, if you have a cute fancy tag punch or some sort of corner punch, you can 100% use it now, but what I'm going to do is actually face these public sides out away from each other on both of my pieces. I think I actually want one floral. I think I'll do that for both. I'm going to do one floral facing out, and then I'm going to do one solid. So mine are going to look like this. So this is the position that they're going to be sandwiched together. Now I'm going to do an organic cut. So the reason why the stacking order is important is because I'm going to angle my mats first. So when I come back and glue them on, they'll both be the same once I trim around them like this. So I'm going to go ahead and do that same thing for this one. I'm going to have this one here and a floral facing out. So I'm going to stack these together. Do my organic angle because they're not going to be 100% equal since I'm just doing it on my own. And then that's how they're going to be glued on, just like this. Once you have everything nice and adhesive ready, you can go ahead and stick them on. Making sure you keep those 2 pairs that you cut together. Nice 1/8 of an inch border right here. Then when I come back with my scissors, I can just follow that 1/8 right there, and then they will match up with each other. And you don't need any fancy tool for that. Just a simple technique. Look how sweet. And then we can give them a nice brush and call it good. My goodness, I'm so excited to get into my cut aparts page. I'm just going to really just let the music flow. And I'm just going to continue getting creative here. And going throughout the book and adding different decor elements out of the sticker sheet. You'll see me add a little bit of cornstarch to my surface. And then I will pat that little sticker. And it'll become unsticky so I can do different gluing techniques. Oh my goodness, I can't wait. Here I go. I think this is where I'm going to stop. I have had so much fun teaching you how to make this cute little baby mini album, and I cannot wait to see what yours turns out to be. Be sure to share it on our community, and I'll see you in the next class. Bye.